So let's look at the key concept of multi-step inequalities. So the key concept is basically, guys, the combination of the previous lesson, one-step, two-step inequalities, okay? So there is no something new over here. We're just going to combine them. So you solve a multi-step inequality in the same way to solve a one-step inequality, same as the two-step inequality. You use the properties of inequalities to transform original inequality into a series of simpler equivalent inequalities. Meaning that we're adding the same number to both sides, subtracting the same number from both sides, or multiply or divide same number from to the both sides. But please pay attention while dividing and multiplying with the negative numbers. So what's the difference between dividing and multiplying negative and the positive? Anyone remember that?
You have to flip the inequality sign.
Perfect. We got to just pay attention to that. If we're doing any operation with the negative numbers like the multiplication and division, just those two, then we got to switch, we got to flip the inequality sign. So let's get the first example, problem 1, using more than one step. So what are the solutions of 9 plus 4t greater than 21? Check your solution. So let's do that. First of all, I have 9 plus something extra, something which is 9 in this case. I have extra 9 to 4t, so I need to get rid of that 9 first. So let's get rid of that 9 first. Subtract 9 from both sides. And that gives us 4t, because 9 minus 9 is 0. And 0 is nothing in addition, so you don't need to do that. And then it's going to be 12. And then I have 4t, 4 times t, under multiplication is division. We said that before. So divide, and that gives us t is greater than 3. I didn't fill up the inequality. Still, I have greater than at the end because I never use negative number in multiplication and division. That's why I'm not going to do any flip with the inequality sign. Question says, check your solution. To check my solution, I'm going to take one number from this true statement and test it. T is greater than 3. I need a number greater than 3. Let's use 4. 4 is greater than 3. Let's check, is it working or not? So the 9 plus 4 times, I'm going to use a different color on that, multiplied by 4, and then greater than, or not greater than, sorry, greater than 21. I'm going to put a question mark because I'm checking that. 9 plus 16 greater than 21, and then 9 plus 16 is 25, which is greater than 21. That's check. That's a true statement. So if 4 satisfies this inequality, then all the numbers greater than 4 must satisfy the equality as well. First of all, I have minus 7. I'm going to do minus. Remember, addition and subtraction comes first. I'm going to undo that one first. So plus 7 to both sides. So that gives us negative 6a less than or equal to 17 plus 7 is 24. And then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 6. As soon as I divide with a negative number, I'm going to flip the inequality. So it's going to be a is greater than or equal to negative 24 divided by 6 is a negative, because 24 is positive, 6 is negative, and then 4. So that the answer is a greater than or equal to negative 4 is our answer for this problem. Okay, so you may check your answer from there. So let's move on to, if anyone have any question, problem 1, before I move on to problem 2. Everyone's good? All right, I think no response means everyone is good. Okay, so problem 2 is writing and solving a multi-step inequality. So we're going to write first, then we're going to solve it. If you pay attention to number 1, you already have the inequality, and just solve it. In this case, we're going to write and solve. Okay, we don't have inequality, we have the problem. We're going to write an inequality like we did in do now, and then we'll solve it similar to do now, problem 2. In a community garden, you want to fence in a vegetable garden that is adjacent to a friend's garden. So your new garden, as you see in the image, Your French garden is right there in the next to that one, okay? And you at most, you have at most, there's a keyword at most. I want to underline that one or highlight that one. It's important. You have at most 42 feet of fence. At most means maximum you have, okay? You don't have 42.1. You have exactly 42 or less, okay? 42 or less. That's going to give you an idea how to set up the inequality. So what are the possible length of your garden? So let's look at this one. As I said, at most means the maximum that you can go. So that means I have 42 or less. Whatever I'm going to do is going to be 42 or less, okay? So let's decide what I'm going to do with that line over there. So let's get rid of that and then figure out what we're going to put there. So when I look at my French garden, one side, one dimension is 12 feet, as you see right here. If this is a rectangle, question says at some point, it doesn't say actually, but the figure is a rectangle figure. So it's going to be the parallel sides are equal to each other. If it's 12 on the left, 12 must be on the right. So 12 feet. Then I'm going to figure out the length. Okay, let's say L. Let's say L, the length. I'll fix that one. So I have 12 plus 12 plus L plus L. And then that is less than or equal to 42. I'm sorry. Let's combine the like terms. 12 plus 12 is 24. And let's combine the like terms. L plus L is 2L. Less than or equal to 42. And this is multi-step inequality. So let's solve this. Undo addition. So that's 0. 2L less than or equal to 12 minus 4 is 8. 3 minus 2 is 1, 18. And then undo multiplication is division. So that the L is less than or equal to 9. So that means if my garden is exactly 42 feet, the distance around the garden, then I may use 9 feet on the sides if I have 12, 12 and the other two sides. Or if my, let's say, fence is less than 42, let's use a number, let's say 38, okay? Then if I have 24, I'm going to subtract 24 from 38, then it's going to give me 14 divided by 2 is 7. So that means each side is going to be 7. So I have many, many options, but the one possible option is 9 or less. As you see, those are the possible options. You may give many answers. Let me list some of them to you. So it could be 9, it could be 8. Okay, what's the possible length of the garden? Okay, it could be 7, it could be 6, all the way down to 1. I'm not going to say 0 because 0 is not a length. So that 3 dots means there are numbers in between 6 and 1. Okay, any number that you give in that list, in that set, you're going to get the correct answer. Okay, we have a rectangular figure. So let me draw a rectangle for you. And the question says 18 feet long. So it's going to be 18 feet over here, 18 feet over here, because this is a rectangle. The parallel sides are equal to each other. And let's say the width, W, we don't know. And says you have no more than 48 feet. No more than 48 feet means same as the at most, okay? So you have 48. And whatever you have that you're going to calculate must be less than or equal to that. So that 18 plus W plus W, that's the perimeter around the rectangle. So that gives us 36, that gives us 2W, 48, subtract 36 from both sides, as you know, I'll do subtract addition. 2w less than or equal to 2, 112, and then w, if you divide both sides by 2, is 6. So that means our answer, if you like to express your answer with a one sentence, it's length and the width, w, or you may say, width less than or equal to 6. That's the answer. Or if the question says, as this question, what are the possible widths of this banner, then you may draw the sets, like I draw it over here, similar to this. So the possible answers are 1, 2, 6. Okay, those are possible answers. You may pick any one you want. That works, okay? But the proper way is saying like this in mathematics. Okay. All right, anyone have any question about this geometry application?
No.
Okay, thank you. So let's move on to multiple choice question. So the question says, using the distributive property, you guys remember that one from the recap that I did? Distributive property, okay, we're gonna use distributive property, which is a solution of given inequality. If you have a multiple choice question like this, I'll give you a trick that you may use in the test. Let's say you don't have any idea how to solve this problem. Then try the choices, okay? Always start from in the middle. You have 4 choices. So you have, right now, you reduce your, at one point, you reduce your chances to get quickly, because if you go left, you have 2 choices. If you go right, you have 2 choices rather than 4 choices at the beginning. But the downside of this one, if you go left and the answer is on the right, then you're gonna have more time. So we only do this when you have time and you don't know how to solve the problem, okay? Then try the choices, okay? Just plug it in, whichever satisfies the inequality, you're done. So I'll do the algebra. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use distributive property over here because I have a parentheses as you see. The way the undo is parentheses, the distributive property. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna distribute the number outside to addition inside. So 3 times t is 3t, 3 times 1 is 3, and then minus 4t greater than or equal to negative 5. And what I see is, I see like terms, 3t and negative 4t. And one thing that I need to mention, you guys, this is important. I can say about 90% of students make a mistake on this one. The term always goes with the sign. That's why when you look at the 4t, I didn't highlight the 4t itself. I highlighted negative 4t, okay? The term goes with the sign in front of it, okay? I don't have 4t, I have negative 4t, okay? So if I combine the like terms, I have a negative t plus 3 greater than or equal to negative 5. Then undo 3, that gives us negative t greater than or equal to negative 8. Then divide both sides by negative because you need a positive t, you don't need negative t. So when you do that, divide both sides by negative, that means negative 1, okay? So that gives us t greater than or equal to, is it greater than or equal to? Is it still greater than or equal to, guys?
No.
No,
Now it's less than or equal to.
Thank you, because what I did is I divided with a negative. So it's going to be less than or equal to positive 8. So that the answer is going to be right here, 8, okay? 8 is the answer. Again, you got to pay attention to the dividing or multiplying with a negative number. That's the one thing that I need to mention to you. And the second one is distributive property. Undo, if you have parentheses, undo is distributive property. You're going to use that one. And while combining like terms, pay attention to the sign in front of the terms, okay? Can you parentheses, I got to do distributive property on that one, but you got to pay attention in this case, there's a negative in front of the 2. So 15 less than or equal to 5. Negative 2 times positive 4m is negative 8m. Negative 2 times a positive 7 is negative 14 when I do the distributive property. Then I'm going to combine the like terms, which is 5 and negative 14. Let's combine them. 15 less than or equal to, that gives us negative 9. So negative 8m minus 9. All right, and then let's undo the minus 9. So that gives us 24 less than or equal to negative 8m. Then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 8. So that when I divide it by negative, positive number by negative, I'm going to get a negative number, negative 3. I'm not going to use less than or equal to anymore because I'm doing division with a negative number. I'm going to use the opposite of that one, greater than or equal to m. But this is not the standard form. You may leave it like this. This is totally fine. This is an answer. But always use the standard form. Standard form is always variables on the left. Okay, if you're switching the variables location, then switch the inequality as well. Less than or equal to negative 3. Okay. Both are fine, but the one on the right is the standard form. The variable is on the left. Okay, it's easy to read because in English we're reading left to right. That's why. All right, so let's look at problem 4. If you don't have any question, anyone have any question before I move on? All right, perfect. Problem 4, solving an inequality with variables on both sides. If you remember, so far, what we did is we worked with the variable on one side, one variable. We have still one variable, but variables on both sides. Okay, same variable on the both sides. Nothing different, nothing new, nothing fancy, nothing complex. Okay, we're just gonna undo operations. That's it. Okay, same as this step, one step or two step solving equation. So what I'm gonna do is either start with the numbers or the variable terms. We're just gonna undo that. But the nice way to do this kind of work is look at the variable terms, 6n, 3n. Whichever is smaller, if you want to do subtraction, subtract the smaller number. Okay, if you want to do addition, go the opposite direction. So since 3n is smaller than the 6n, I'm going to subtract 3n from both sides. Why I'm doing this one? Let me explain. If I do it this way, I'm not going to get negative value. That's why, because if I get negative value next to the variable, then I need to switching variable. I'm switching the inequality symbol. If I forget that one, I'm going to get the wrong answer. To eliminate that kind of extra step, do this one so you don't have an extra step. So that 3n minus 1 greater than 8. And then undo the number 1 so that 3n greater than 9, and then undo the multiplication. See, I divide with a positive number. I don't need to flip the inequality, so I don't have a problem with the inequality symbol. So the n is greater than 3 is my answer, okay? It's a strategy. It makes your life easier. As much as possible, reduce the steps, okay? So you can get the answer faster and precise, okay? So if you don't have questions both sides, as I said, if possible, subtract the smaller one if you want to do the subtraction, okay? So what I'm going to do over here, I have minus 2b. If I subtract 3b from both sides, I'm going to get negative 5b. So that's going to give me a negative. So to eliminate that one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2b to both sides. As you see, I have positive 5b when I add them up. So try to make the variable term positive as much as possible. That reduce the steps. And then 27, subtract 12, 5b greater than 5, 1, and then divide by 5. As you see, I divide by positive number. If I subtract 3b from both sides at the beginning, I'm going to do this one with the negative 5, so I need to flip the inequality. So, and that's going to gives us b greater than 3. Okay. All right, yep, all of you guys got the correct answer. Those who send the response to the private comments. So problem 5 has 2 pieces. This is important. Please pay more attention on this one because these are special solutions, okay? Most of the time, the exams like state exams or SAT, you guys see that one in when you come to around junior year, you can have the SAT or ACT, the college assessments. So this special special solution or special cases are important because they're asking question about this special cases, not the other general form. Yes, they're asking question about general form as well, but the special cases always in the exam. So please pay more attention to this problem. So problem 1, or part A, what are the solution of this given inequality? So let me solve it. You're going to see something special on this one, okay? So I have a parentheses, so I'm going to undo that one, distributive property, So let me do distributive property, 2 times 5 and 2 times negative 4a. So when I do that, 10 minus 8a greater than or equal to 10 minus 8a. Now I already see the left is equal to right. They're exactly the same thing. When I undo, they're going to cancel each other. You're going to see that. If I subtract 10 from both sides, I don't have number term. So negative 8a greater than or equal to negative 8a. When I add 8a to both sides, I'm going to get 0, 0. So 0 is greater than or equal to 0. So there is no variable. All the variables are gone. I don't have a term anymore. So what I have is, I have a true statement. It says 0 greater than or equal to 0. It's a true statement. It's a right, something right, okay? If you guys have a true statement like this, that means all numbers that you know satisfies this inequality. Like, I can try it, 5. When I substitute 5, this inequality, I'm going to get the true statement. If I substitute negative 5, I'm going to get still true statement. Or 1.5, I'm going to get still true statement. Or 2 billion, I'm going to get still true statement. So it doesn't matter what kind of number I use over here, I'm going to get a true statement. So we're calling this one is infinitely many solution or many solution in general. So this inequality has many solutions, more than 1, more than 2, many solutions. So let's get the second one. Let's see what we're going to have in that special case. So I have 6m. Okay, first I have the like terms that I need to combine on the same side. So that's 6m minus 5 greater than 7m minus m is 6m plus 7. When I subtract 6m from both sides, as you see the variable is gone. What I see is a negative 5 is greater than 7. What I know about math is that the negative number cannot be greater than a positive number, okay? And remember, on the number line, the right side is always greater than the left side. On the right side, we have a positive numbers. On the left side, we have negative numbers. So that means the positive numbers greater than negative numbers, not negative numbers greater than positive numbers. So this is a false statement, okay? For the false statement, we're calling that there is no solution, okay? It doesn't matter what kind of number you use, you're not going to get the true statement. You're going to get the false statement always. For example, let's try 0. It's easy to try, that's why. When I substitute 0 for m, 6 times 0 is 0, 5 minus 0 is negative 5. I got negative 5 on the left. Let's do the same thing on the right. 7 times 0 is 0, plus 7 is 7, minus 0 is 7, so I got negative 5 is greater than 7. So it doesn't matter which number I substitute, I'm going to always get negative 5 greater than 7. Okay, so we're calling no solution, okay? Those are 2 special cases, no solution or many solution. Oops. or the right way is infinite limited solution. Do you guys know that symbol? Number 8, sleeping. That means infinite limited solution. It says, what are the solutions for this one? We have two options, infinite limited solution or no solution. So when I subtract the 5n from both sides, as you see, the variable term is gone. 9 is less than or equal to -1, and we know that the positive number never going to be the less than the positive number. I mean, the positive number never going to be less than the negative number. So it's a false statement. So we're going to say that false statement or no solution. Okay,